From ABC 7, live breaking news.
And that breaking news is happening, as you've seen right now on San Francisco Bay. Sky 7 over the scene of a deadly boating accident. This is video of the boat. You can see the top of it just minutes before it went completely underwater.
At least one person we know is dead, and a search is underway for others right now. The Coast Guard and San Francisco Fire Department boats, they are on the water doing everything they can to find that person who was unaccounted for. And we have our ABC 7 eyewitness news reporter Dryden Quigley, who is live with the latest. Dryden.
Absolutely. It's a chaotic scene out here right now, trying to find out information. A ton of emergency personnel. But what we do know is that there are victims here being treated. If you take a look right back there, you should be able to see some people sitting on the curb recovering from what likely was a very, very cold swim and rescue from the bay. Many of them were there sitting covered in towels and then wearing life jackets as well. They also were wearing these large white, what we call victim tags, to make sure that they could keep track of everyone who was taken off of the boat, I assume. A lot of them have been sitting there consoling each other after what was likely a very traumatic incident from what we saw from the helicopter video, and being treated with water and other things as well. Now, unfortunately, I can tell you that down on the pier, we did see what looks like a body covered by a yellow tarp. And what you were saying before, one person didn't make it, and there is a police guard over there as well. Now, we know that the police are here. We have the fire department here. We also have what we heard is the mayor coming here to give us more information in just a few minutes, and something as well from either, was it the fire department or the police department? Do we know? Fire department. We have the fire chief coming to give us an update about what exactly led up to this incident. All we know right now is it was some sort of incident. It's unclear if it was a fire on the boat, how exactly it ended up going down into the bay. But I know, as we mentioned before, that water is very cold right now, and so to be thrown into that unexpectedly is something that, you know, it's really hard to get out of.
Okay, Dryden, thank you. Stand by. We'll come back to you. And the reports are there was a fire on the boat. Everyone went into the water. That boat then sank. 19 people on board. 17 were rescued and brought to shore. One, sadly, has perished, and one is still missing. And obviously, if you can imagine, if you're not wearing a life jacket, if you go down quickly, a head bobbing above the water is a very small thing to try to find in choppy water. And of course, San Francisco Bay is notoriously choppy and very cold as well.
Yes, and you know, we think about this hot weather and we automatically go to wildfires, but this is something that's really a tragic reminder that we...
Response has been giving us more granularity.
It's very true, and our Dan Noyes is in the newsroom. He's following what's going on as well. Dan has a considerable amount of experience actually in the bay as an avid surfer. And the water temperature in the bay can range between 50 degrees and maybe 62 or 3 degrees. Dan, are you with us in the newsroom still?
Dan and Alma, yeah, I am. I mean, the water is definitely getting warmer. I mean, we're coming out of the cold winter season, and, you know, most every morning I'm out there along the bay and I see people swimming, and they have no wetsuits on whatsoever. They're just diving in their swimsuits, and they'll stay in the water for upwards of a half hour. So it really is, it's warm enough to take for a brief period of time. But again, that's water that's closer to the shore. When you're out there where this happened, that water is colder, the currents are very strong. And I want to tell you that I've been in contact with some of the captains who pilot boats in that area most every day. I mean, I've been working on stories over the past few months about the bay and about the boating out there. It does really look like a pontoon boat, they're saying. This could actually be the top deck of a larger power boat, they're telling me. We are checking into it. But if this were a pontoon boat, Dan and Alma, you know, you have people who have these things that are really meant for calm water, say up in Benicia or Discovery Bay or there, and, you know, up in the Delta. And it's not uncommon for people who have these boats meant for smooth water. On a day like this when it's hot, hey, we'll just take a run down to the bay and have fun. But the problem is these boats are not meant for the bay. And the currents and the chop kicks up, and it can be a real problem.
Dan, those boats really bob like corks, those pontoon boats in these kind of conditions, don't they?
Exactly right. And you know, another captain is telling me that given that the boat was kind of sinking upright, if you can see, He's saying it was either a very old pontoon boat that experienced metal fatigue, which is not uncommon in those boats if it's an older aluminum one. But the fact that it was oriented with the top side up suggests that they possibly ran into something which caused damage to the pontoons. And he's saying that people could have been thrown out in a group like that that's clearly not wearing life jackets, and in the mad, scramble, in the panic of that going down, they may have not been able to put on life jackets that quickly. So, I mean, a lot to be learned. And he's also saying that, that the water is deep right there. There's jagged rocks on the bottom. That it's going to be very difficult to pull up any wreckage before it's swept out towards the Farallon Islands, that are 17 miles off our coast. I mean, the currents there are just really strong, as you can see from these pictures.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, people can swim in the bay much closer to shore. It's a bit warmer. But even if you can swim, just the shock and the sheer panic of when a situation like this happens,
exactly,
you just can't necessarily rely on swimming capability.
It takes your breath away. The cold, people are often surprised it's as cold as it is. Of course, you're terrified. Hypothermia sets in. Dan, I don't have an exact number of that, but it can set in pretty quickly on someone who's not used to those conditions.
Oh, it definitely can. I mean, in a matter of minutes, really. If you're in some sort of shock, Dan, you can imagine hitting that water, and you kind of gasp and gulp, and you get some water down your throat. You start to breathe in some water, and it's really just a matter of minutes before you can go down like that. If you are not in the right frame of mind and prepared, if you aren't really diving into the water of your own will, if you're just tossed into the water suddenly with this catastrophe happening, I can imagine being overcome quite quickly.
Yeah, and not only are you trying to catch your breath, in a fairly short time, that cold your muscles will quit working properly.
Oh, exactly, right.
And they're probably in clothes, shoes, everything that's going to weigh them down as it sucks in the water.
All right, Dan, thanks. Stand by if you would. Great information. Let's go back out live to Dryden Quigley, who is near the scene where some folks who were on board have been pulled to shore and are being treated. Dryden, anything new? No, we don't have Dryden. She must be out doing some reporting now. We'll get back to her in just a few moments.
Yes, but we are taking a look at what the scene has been for some time now. And in fact, when this started, we don't have an exact time, but we were in our editorial meeting in our building on the Embarcadero, and we saw the fire trucks go by, several ambulances, so we knew something was happening, and then we found out about this tragic incident on the bay. Yeah,
a lot of sirens went by, actually. And let's go to meteorologist Sandy Patel for a moment to talk about the conditions out there on the water right now that those who went into the water were facing, and the rescuers as well, Sandy.
Yeah, and Dan and Amma, as we take a look at the current ocean temperatures, you will notice they're anywhere between the mid-50s to the low 60s. So some areas are actually milder than they would have been a few months ago, but the bad news is the winds are starting to pick up. Right now, 19-mile-an-hour winds in San Francisco. You can see it is gustier in other parts. It has definitely been a hot day. We've seen mid-100s in places like Vacaville. It is at 104 degrees right now, 101 in Brentwood. Still pretty hot, but San Francisco is cooling, 69 degrees, 94 in Santa Rosa, 91 San Jose, 79 in Oakland, 87 degrees in Sunnyvale. We do have that heat advisory still in effect until 10 p.m. tonight for all inland areas. Numbers in the 90s to low 100s, still a risk of heat-related illnesses, so definitely take it easy and stay hydrated with water. As we check out a live view from our KGO roof camera, we are still seeing a few clouds out there adding to the humidity, but the humidity is nowhere near where it was. Once again, if you're just joining us, those ocean temperatures anywhere from the mid-50s to the low 60s right now, but those winds are picking up, so it is going to be challenging for those looking for some other victims. Dan, Amma.
Sandy, thank you.
All right, so let's get back to this breaking news. Continue on that if you are just joining us. This incident on the bay, a boat that has gone down in the water. 19 people we're told were on board. One fatality, 17 have been rescued, but that means one person is still unaccounted for.
And we've been watching rescue boats circle the water in that area where the boat went down, presumably trying to find that person, which is very difficult in those kind of choppy conditions. Let's go back out live to ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Dryden Quigley, who is on the scene. Dryden.
Yeah, right now we're outside of Fort Mason by the marina, where some of these victims are being brought after they are presumably pulled out of the bay, out of that water. They're taken on on by a Coast Guard ship boat that you can see over by the pier. And now, right now, you can getting a live look right now. We see Oakland police as well out here, but the victims that we know were taken from a pier.
Yeah,
from the water over to the pier here.
Give you a quick look here at
If we want to take, we have a helicopter, multiple helicopters are circling over here, but what we're really focusing on here on land is those victims who are over there behind me. If we want to take a look, too, you can really tell who they are because unfortunately they are soaking wet, seemingly covered in blankets, and then some of them earlier, now they've taken them off, were wearing life jackets as well, so it was pretty clear who had just come in out of the water. They've been sitting there being treated by medical personnel for any sorts of injuries. We're really not sure at this point. Unfortunately, down on the pier also, we were able to see what looked like one body covered by a yellow tarp being guarded by a police officer. And as we talked about before, they said that there is one person missing, presumably, and one person dead as well. So really a horrific day out here. Right now what we're doing is waiting for the mayor and the fire chief to get out here to update us on the incident and give us some exact details as to what led up to this and exactly how many people were on it and are missing.
Okay, Dryden, thanks a lot. Again, we understand 19 people were on board. One perished, one is still missing. Those are the numbers we have at this moment. But the San Francisco Bay is notorious in a lot of ways. One of the trickiest spots really in the country, the waterways. The current is very tough. It can be very choppy. It is very cold. So there are a number of factors that make it a particularly challenging place, makes it a fun place to sail because the conditions are robust, but it can be very difficult in a situation like this to try to rescue people.
Yes, and it wasn't very choppy earlier, but as Sandia said, the winds are going to pick up, so this is going to make things even more challenging for rescuers. And if you just take a look at this live look from Sky 7. Imagine trying to look in that water, see someone down there through all the debris that's out there. This is quite the task for them.
And with the water rolling along like it is, imagine if someone isn't wearing a vest and they're just sticking out of the water, maybe their shoulders or their head. That's a very hard thing to see. And of course, the longer this goes on, and it's been going on for some time now, probably about 3:30 or so, or a little bit before, you know, the odds of someone being able to survive in those kind of cold water conditions for any extended period of time are sadly slim. Let's go back to Dan Noyes, who's in the newsroom. Dan has really a great deal of experience out on the water as an avid surfer. He swims in the bay, Dan, almost daily.
Right, I'm out there. You know, I don't swim every day, Dash, but I am out there. You know, walking along the shoreline. You know, I'm taking my dog out for a walk, that sort of thing in the mornings, and I see people most every day. I mean, there are, in some cases, dozens of people come and they all meet in the same place, and they're in their bathing suits. They even have a little warming hut set up on the sand there for when they come out of the water. And people will stay in that water for a good 30 minutes. But again, as I said earlier with you, that's warmer water there near the shore. Being out there in the bay with this high chop and the winds, a much different situation. If you are not going into the water willingly, it's a much different experience.
And Dan, you've done so many investigations over the years, and we've seen some of these tragic boat incidents, you know, every so often, every few years. You mentioned that this boat likely won't be able to be recovered. What might the investigation look like once the search and recovery is done?
Well, there are so many pieces to put together. I mean, of course, you'll have to find out whether there was a mayday call. You know, is there some sort of recording of the radio traffic? You know, what was the Coast Guard's response? You know, what's the history on this boat? I mean, was it clear that this boat should not have been in the bay? Was it just a party boat, or was what we saw there just the top of perhaps a larger boat? But it seems as though there was just that canopy, right? That burgundy canopy, and then the pontoons, and that's it. I mean, that's my impression, and that's the impression of an experienced captain that I've been texting with here. He's actually headed to the scene. But so the question is whether that was an appropriate boat to be in the bay when it's choppy like that, and two, if there were any sort of mechanical issues. I mean, did it take on water? Was there some sort of failure? Did it hit something? Of course, we heard earlier that there was reports of an explosion, some sort of fire on board. I mean, when you take a look at that boat as it was going down, the early pictures of the boat going down, I didn't see evidence of any sort of fire. I mean, the canopy was largely intact all the way around the top of that boat. And if you looked into the sides, I didn't see any charring, didn't see any sort of displacement of materials or metal. So, I mean, I'm cautious about the report of a fire, but again, it could have been a smaller fire that set some panic to start there on board, and people thinking that they should be jumping in the water and that sort of thing. So the question is why this boat went down, whether it was a failure of the pontoons, whether they hit something, whether it was a fire on board. So many questions. And again, the bottom of the bay is very unforgiving. The sharp rocks there, the high tides, I mean, the fast tides that flush in and out every single day. I mean, pieces of this boat could be heading out the Golden Gate Bridge by this evening, for that matter.
Right.
Yeah, it was terrifying to see how much water it took on at the end there, right before the whole thing was just submerged.
Yeah, it's always, you know,
Absolutely.
if you've ever, thanks Dan a lot, if you ever seen, and we'll come back to you as well then, if you ever have seen, you've certainly seen video of boats go down, it takes a minute, and then once they really start to sink, once they take on so much water that they're going down, it happens very, very quickly.